And the devil are we? We're back with more Nuke's Top 5 Unexplained events. I love a good mystery. I've not been particularly rolled over with things like cryptids. I'm not sure I believe in them. NHI, UAP, yes, I think there's something to it. Ghosts, I think there's something there, just not sure what it is. Anyway, let's have a look at this one.
The top 5 unsolved mysteries. Mysterious visitor. Before we get to all the murder and mayhem in this list, here's an unsolved mystery that simply fits into the extremely creepy category.
I love a good mystery. Let's have it.
Several nights in a row, a Reddit user gets repeated alerts from his door motion sensor that movement has been detected. However,
Reddit moderators usually get alerts to say, someone's had an original thought. Let's moderate it quick.
Every time he checks the notification images, there's nothing there. So,
I mean, the way that was angled, you can't spot anything anywhere.
He just assumes it's a neighborhood pet setting off the detector, or perhaps a malfunction. Finally, after the third night, the man checks his alert and finds this disturbing picture from his front door.
Fuck me. I don't jump scare, right? I rarely ever jump scare. I do sort of instantly get freaked out a little bit, and that freaked me out a little bit.
A strange late night visitor who appears to be wearing an odd mask. Even creepier.
That is a mask, isn't it?
Notice the times on the alerts. They occur around midnight, then again a full 4 to 5 hours later, around 4 a.m. So, who was this person, and why was he hanging around outside the man's home all night long, seemingly in a mask?
Go to your neighbour's house and ask if they've picked up anything on their cameras as well, because it might be some dickhead who's out there just sort of like trying to creep out the local neighbourhood.
The Reddit user reports that after this picture, the mysterious visitor never returned again.
Right, I'll tell you a really quick story. I was living in a block of flats with my other half, and I was on a couple of people in the flats. Obviously, I had them on WhatsApp and Facebook and whatever. But then I saw a message saying, is anybody aware or awake? I've barricaded myself into the flat because someone's trying my door handle. And it was one of the ladies on the floor above. And so I was awake. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, something stupid. I was taking my other half to work. So I went out on the main hallway and I thought, I can't hear anything. Next thing you know, in the reflection, because there used to be a window that went all the way up every floor, I saw someone leaning over a banister looking down. This was like 5 in the morning. There was no one around. It was pitch black. So I walked upstairs and there was like a drunk guy just walking around the hallways. So after a bit of argy-bargy with him, I was like, look, you got to go. You got to get out. Right? You don't live in here. You're terrifying a woman who lives on one of the flats. And walked him all the way out of the building and all the way up the hill. He was all right, but I think what had happened is he got absolutely pissed with his mates. He was supposed to be going back to one of the flats, and I suspect I know which one it was. Got the wrong flat, and he was constantly trying the door handle of the girl who lived upstairs on one of the other floors, and she was shitting herself, and she put a picture on Facebook, and she basically put all her furniture behind the front door and barricaded the entire thing. Yeah, bizarre, really. But at least I stepped up and went and investigated.
The head in the woods. In Economy, Pennsylvania, a teenager is strolling through the woods when he makes a grisly discovery: the dismembered head of an old woman. But that's not where the weirdness stops, because when police investigate, they find that the head has been fully embalmed by someone. Not only that, but the eyes have been removed and replaced by rubber balls.
Right, somebody's got a funeral home and they're a little bit of a psycho, or somebody in the family is a bit of a psycho. I mean, imagine being a teenager and finding that. Jesus.
Police artists compose sketches and even circulate pictures of a 3D sculpture of the woman's head. But no leads are ever found to the woman's identity or where the head came from. 1 year later, the investigation is stopped due to lack of evidence. Pennsylvania authorities buried the head in an unmarked grave in the local cemetery.
I don't want to speak ill of anything, and, but they were carrying a full coffin for a head. Was a full coffin needed? I suppose it's a respect thing. It's a respect thing. I get that. The reason why she might not have been reported missing is because there might have been a closed casket or a cremation and of a loved one, and they just assumed that the body was cremated, and whoever the funeral director, I'm not probably shared at funeral directors here, but kept the body, maybe.
To this day, no one knows who the woman is or what happened to her body. BC Beach Feet. On February 9, 2016, a family was walking along Botanical Beach in British Columbia, Canada. They find a shoe washed up on the shore. Nothing strange about that, except that the shoe still has a severed human foot inside.
I remember this case. Was it that they found multiple feet in shoes washed up on the beach? And I reckon it could have been some sort of trafficking operation or something like that.
But it gets even stranger than that, because this is the 13th human foot to wash up on the beach of British Columbia in the past 10 years.
Serial killer.
Theories about the origin of the feet run from murdered bodies dumped into the ocean to suicides and deaths at sea. But no one is quite sure on the exact explanation or why the British Columbia beach in particular seems to attract these grisly discoveries.
Serial killer, or I can't imagine deaths at sea would have that frequency in just one location.
Morgellons Disease. Morgellons disease is a very rare and controversial illness. Sufferers report the strange sensation of what feels like bugs crawling under their skin. Other symptoms include chronic fatigue, skin sores, and oddest of all, threads or fibers that actually appear underneath the skin.
That is weird. That's an illness that I've seen on a couple of programs, and it's just, it's an awful one. Feeling like bugs are crawling under your skin.
2012, the U.S. Center for Disease Control said that they believed that Morgellons wasn't an actual physical disease at all, but was simply a mental illness. They suggested that the fibers were likely lint that had gotten into exposed wounds. However, tens of thousands of Morgellons disease sufferers, including singer Joni Mitchell, insist that the disease is very real. On websites and help forums, sufferers post very compelling photos of the strange fibers that they say appear under their skin. Lab analysis of some of the Morgellon fibers defy all description.
Whatever the cause, there is something strange about the fibers.
It's weird, isn't it? It's very weird. Fibers under your skin.
Forensic scientist Ron Pogue at the Tulsa Police Crime Lab checked a Morgellons sample against the 100,000 known fibers in the FBI's national database.
No match at all. So this is some strange stuff.
Not cotton, not linen, not any known natural or synthetic fiber.
But despite reported cases of the illness dating back at least 16 years,
it's got to be something natural then. It's something. I have no idea, but it's weird, isn't it? It's really weird, like little fibers sticking out your skin.
Morgellons disease has never been officially recognized or classified as either a physical or mental illness. 4,000-mile death punch. On July 5th, 1996, in Surrey, British Columbia, Canada, a 31-year-old man named Blair Adams suddenly leaves his job, removes all of his cash from his bank accounts, and begins one of the strangest escape attempts of all time. I say
4,000 in cash, car. I imagine that you would quite easily disappear in America. It's that big. It's massive. If you just basically wanted to live in motels, cheap motels or whatever, yeah, sleep in your car, I suppose your car could be recognised, so you'd have to steal a car or buy another car for cash.
Escape attempt because Blair Adams had repeatedly claimed to friends that someone was trying to kill him and that he had to get out of town immediately. First, Blair Adams tries to cross the border into the US, but he's turned away by suspicious border guards. Next, he buys a one-way ticket to Frankfurt, Germany, leaving the next day. But apparently Adams is too afraid to wait for his flight to Germany, so instead he once again tries to cross the US border.
Is he suffering from some mental illness? Because I could think of the safest place in the world would be waiting at an airport for all the security and whatever.
This time, he succeeds. Adams then drives nearly 500 miles to Seattle, where he purchases another plane ticket and flies across the US to Washington, D.C. From Washington, he then drives another 500 miles to Knoxville, Tennessee. In total, Blair Adams has now traveled nearly 4,000 miles from his home in Canada.
Why? To escape somebody who's looking for him. Fair enough. Is he borrowed money, maybe?
In Knoxville, Adams checks into a hotel room. Now, so far, this just sounds like the crazed trip of a delusional man. But this is where things get really strange. At 7:37 p.m., Adams leaves his hotel room.
Looks like he left, came back, left, came back, left.
The next day, Blair Adams is found dead in a parking lot a half a mile from his hotel room. He has been violently stripped from the waist down. Oddly, the thousands of dollars in cash that he was carrying is not missing.
Self-inflicted, maybe?
But instead is scattered all around his dead body. Weirdest of all, Blair Adams' cause of death is determined to be one single massive blow to the stomach. Pathologists say he received a single punch, kick, or unknown impact to his midsection that was so powerful that it actually ruptured his stomach. The strange case of Blair Adams is still unsolved.
That is bizarre. So he stripped down to his waist, money was all around him, and he had a massive kick or punch to his stomach. I'm trying to solve that one. I'm not going to solve it, but I'm trying to solve it. Was he trying to hire a prostitute? I'm speaking ill of a deceased man. Hire a prostitute, stripped down to the waist. No, because then the money would be gone. I have no idea. No idea. It's going to bug me now. Thanks, Newt. It's going to bug me. Let me know your theories. What do you think happened there? It's bizarre. What do you think happened with the feet as well? I reckon it's a serial killer. Definitely a serial killer. Anyway, that's all for this one. You take care. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.